You're still afraid.
Stop it now, I mean it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're acting like a child.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny.
Kevin, I can't hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hello, and we are live. Welcome to Condor and Crow's Petrifying Picture Show.
Welcome. I think I was expecting also that I thought the intro was going to come on, so I was just kind of standing there staring.
You should have seen the intro. That's weird.
I didn't see it. It didn't play on my end.
Oh. Well, everybody else saw it, and that's what counts.
That's all that matters, yeah. I've seen it. You've seen it once. You've seen it a million times.
My intros are fantastic. I know what you're talking about.
They are, though. I love the intros.
So, what are we doing today?
We were watching we're gonna take a different direction than we normally go. Of course, we're gonna watch a horrible movie. So that's gonna be that's really gonna be diverging from what we normally do. We normally find gold, but today we're gonna go down the trenches and we're gonna just sort of dredge up something that no one has probably ever heard of before. And I've never even seen it until, this will be the first time I will have actually seen it at all. I'm just relying on the information that I've read and what you've told me about it. So, what kind of introduction do you think this movie deserves?
I was just going to flat out tell people what it's about, because otherwise I don't know if anybody's going to get it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a science fiction horror movie that started as a spy movie. It started as El Hombre que vino de Humo, the man who came from Humo, which is a play on The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was a spy series back in the 70s, kind of a takeoff of the James Bond series.
Right. And
then it became something else. Then it became, when it was actually shot, Los Monstrous del Terror, which it's bad Spanish, but there you go. So, the Monsters of Terror, because apparently just saying monsters and terror was not enough. You got to double up. But American audiences, you can't use Spanish names. So when it went to direct to VHS, it became Dracula versus Frankenstein, which had two problems. The first problem was that there were like three other movies that were called Dracula versus Frankenstein. The second problem is that Dracula and Frankenstein are not in this movie. That's... It's a secondary issue, but I think it's an important one.
Right. It's kind of like how Trolls 2 doesn't have trolls in it. It has goblins. It's kind of...
Yeah, it's the same concept. But if you're going to name it after something, you kind of... Yeah, okay. But, okay, so this movie...
Trolls 2, not Trolls 2. Trolls 2 is the one, the recent cartoon with the, treasure trolls. I meant the one with,
yes.
the sequel to
the actual horror movie, not the movie that is horrifying if you're an adult to watch.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay, so this movie, the plot is that these aliens from the planet Umo are dying. Or their planet is dying because it's getting too cold. So they're going to repopulate Earth using their people. And to do so, they reanimate 3 scientists whose job is to reanimate the monsters of Earth, which are apparently real, living, breathing creatures, or they were.
But they're dead now for some reason.
They're dead due to events that actually took place in a previous movie. So this is actually a sequel.
Oh, okay.
Sort of.
What's the
Again,
sequel called?
sort of. So the first movie in the series was The Mark of the Wolfman, where you actually apparently see The werewolf die, and Frankenstein. Well, not Frankenstein. The monster die
Right.
as much as they do.
Yeah.
And then there was gonna be a third movie, but for sanity's sake, it didn't happen, which is good. But anyway, so once they reanimate these monsters, they were going to send them out into the public and see if they scare people. I mean, that's the little plot. Okay, so and if they successfully scare people, then they are going to unleash a clone army of these monsters upon the earth. Because somehow that's more effective than nuclear weapons. And that's actually in the plot.
Well, that's very silly, obviously. But
it's got some issues.
I understand not wanting to nuke everything just because if you're going to be wanting to take over this place, you're probably not going to want to, salt the, scorch the earth or whatever. So
preserve it as much as possible. Sure.
Right. But you would think there'd be some kind of weapon that they would develop that, they're from space. They're aliens.
So this is apparently like one team out of many groups that are doing that. So somehow they just got this assignment. Just, reanimate some monsters and send them out there. And then they check a box. And you work on a biologic weapon and you make some giant lasers. But you never see any of those other groups. They're just talked about at the very beginning.
Okay. All right.
But again,
I feel like
I get so you clone Dracula. Okay, fine, you get vampires. I get that. You clone a werewolf. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, you get werewolves. I understand that. If you clone Frankenstein's monster, you're gonna get a bunch of dead bodies.
Yeah, wouldn't it just be a bunch of dead bodies?
He's human. Just stitched together.
Or wouldn't they just be people? Or even if they weren't dead, they would just be
you just get a couple of guys. Yeah, that's all you get. Is like some guy going, "Oh, I'm back to life. Thank you. That's great." Now, wait, I have to conquer Earth now.
Maybe then they would kill the.
And then chop them up and put them together.
They just stitch them all together.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the same thing with the mummy. What happens if you clone the mummy? He's a dead guy who's cursed.
Right.
You're gonna get a dead guy. Or some guy, pre-cursed guy who speaks Egyptian or ancient Egyptian, which nobody speaks.
He would be so terrified of everything because he wouldn't know.
I know.
He wouldn't be familiar with any of the technology.
Giant monster! No, Teotet.
Yeah,
that's a car.
Out.
Oh no! Monster in the sky! No, Teotet. That's an airplane. Monster in your head! No, that's a cell phone, Teotet. It's okay. It'll be okay, Teotet. It'll be fine.
He'd probably just have a huge psychotic reaction and just he'd probably just be incapacitated.
Yeah, but that is the plot to Assignment Terror. So over the course of the next hour, if you don't get that, that's what I was able to gather after doing a lot of research and watching it 2.5 times. Just going, rewinding and going, what?
If you catch anything that we didn't catch, then leave a comment on the Facebook page, or whatever.
Definitely let us know, because I'm sure I missed a lot.
Well, it sounds like it's a very overwhelming. There's there's a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces in this.
I'm sure there's some hidden subtext. I'm hoping there's some hidden subtext. Because whatever the other opposite of subtext is, it didn't have that.
So you're saying even worse than any of the other movies that we've seen so far?
Yes.
Well, which I
mean, the soundtrack is better.
Soundtrack is better. Okay.
Soundtrack's
better. This one came out after all the others, so 70s music I could see. Yeah,
it's got 70s music. It's got that go-go girl kind of music. So pre-disco or after disco, in the middle of disco. I don't know where go-go music fits in, but it's got that.
I don't know either.
At random intervals that don't fit with what's going on.
I think it'll be a fun time.
I think so. And with that, we're going to roll the film.
President Kennedy begins a tour of 4 space institutions at Huntsville, Alabama, where he is greeted by Dr. Werner von Braun, space pioneer and director of this research and development center. The missiles on display are dwarfed by the mighty Saturn rocket. This booster is the first stage of the rocket that will put the 3-man Apollo capsule into a 2-week orbit of the Earth in 1964 as a preliminary to a lunar shoot. The men who make it get very personal greetings. From Alabama to Cape Canaveral, next stop on the tour. At this U.S. space capital, the president has a long chat with Walter M. Schirra, Center, our next man in space, who is scheduled for a 6-orbit flight. The commander-in-chief learns from an expert. Next stop, Houston, where he is cheered by thousands of Texans on his way to a stadium for his key speech of the trip. At Rice University, there's a crowd of 40,000 present, and Mr. Kennedy calls for backing for the U.S. space effort. He says that we cannot afford to lag if we want to be in the forefront of nations. Then to the Manned Spacecraft Center, where the $20 billion Apollo project is in high gear. Here, the president sees mock-ups like the Moonbug that is being prepared for a lunar landing, and the Gemini, a larger Mercury capsule for 2 men and other space vehicles. The president receives a briefing on highly classified matter
Can you hear me?
seems pleased with the progress report when he inspects
Yes,
the apparatus
but I can
that the
hear
U.S.
you.
is
Also
making
hear
ready
you.
for further conquest of space. It was in Houston that Mr. Kennedy emphasized
All I
the
see
need
is my
for
own
peaceful
alarm
uses
space.
of space.
I don't know what's happening.
Umo 206 calling reply, please. Contact made. Kirian Werner,
Concern.
surgeon, killed in war action. Maleva Kerstein, doctor of biochemistry, killed in automobile accident. Both persons have required characteristics and have been incarnated by our envoys. They will contact you. Remember, success of mission depends on exploiting to the full the superstitions prevalent among the earth creatures. The first objective is Blaustadt Fairground. This is the world we have to conquer.
Bombs?
Of course. We could even explode their nuclear arsenal.
How much time do we have?
People in the mystical regions of Transylvania, the only way to destroy him was to plunge a wooden stake in his heart. His magic, hypnotic power died with him. It was inherited only by those like myself, descendants of people who were attacked and contaminated by the vampire. For a few coins, I shall hypnotize you and read your future in your unseeing eye. Love, passion, jealousy.
Remember, I told you, the passions and...
Who will be the first to try? Don't worry, she'll take care of you. Ah, here's a customer. A lady who's not afraid to know the truth.
Beautiful women are like powerful magnets. We shall use them to attract scientists, generals, statesmen with their vital secrets.
So far, we've nothing to go on. No fingerprints, no known enemies. Looks like the work of a ghost.
Let's start by ruling out ghosts.
What about the gelatin substance found on the steak?
We sent it and the victim's clothing to the main laboratory.
And?
In a few days, we'll have some results.
There's one detail that intrigues me. The absence of the skeleton exhibited by Fairzar in his show. Remember the legend. The only way to revive a vampire is to withdraw the steak from his heart.
As far as I'm concerned, that skeleton is no more than a showman's gimmick. There must be a logical reason for its disappearance.
You know, in this part of the country...
As you can see, Henry, I'm completely snowed under with paperwork. Why don't you see what you can dig up for me?
Right, sir.
But don't bring any vampires into this office.
Why not?
I'm anemic already.
Oh.
We shall call her alone. The first of a group of beautiful women who will blindly obey my orders. Prince of Darkness sleeps soundly. Excellent material for our research.
Do you think human beings may become contaminated if his blood is injected into their veins?
We'll soon find out.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you help me a moment?
I'd like to, sir, but it's nearly closing time.
I'm Inspector Toberman. Criminal investigation.
In what way can I help?
Do you have anything written by Professor Ulrich von Ferenxelam?
That's a coincidence. No one has asked for one of his books in years, and you're the second person who's asked in only the last couple of hours.
Can you describe the other person to me?
As a librarian,
It
I
was
can
really a couple.
identify with that.
A tall, good-looking man and a very beautiful girl. The man was gray-haired and distinguished, and the girl was strange. She had a very hard look in her eyes.
Thanks.
Go go upstairs. That's where we have the archive section. And then ask for Carl. He'll be glad to help you find it.
Thank you very much. This way, gentlemen. Incision penetrating the endocardium, causing damage to the mitral valve.
I call that a stab in the heart.
I have something else to show you. Bye. Have to send it to the main laboratory for a more exhaustive analysis.
All right, as quickly as possible.
This may be the break we've been hoping for.
Don't jump to conclusions, Henry. Apart from this gelatin, can you give me one shred of concrete evidence that ties in this murder with that of the showman at the fairground?
Yes. Anthology of the Monsters by Professor Ulrich von Frankenstein. It's a study of the various legends of man-made monsters. The living mummy, reputed to be somewhere in the Valley of the Kings in Egypt. Nosferatu, the medieval vampire in the remote regions of Transylvania. The golem, a giant of clay created in the ghetto of Prague. The missing pages, thanks. Apparently, these pages refer to an artificial human being created by Frankenstein himself. Listen to the ending. I wish to create a perfect human being, selecting the best organs from different corpses. But God punished me.
Okay, with that, we'll go to our first break. Welcome back, people.
It's it's pretty riveting. I think it's interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah.
A poor
So
woman
first
gets shocked.
I apologize for not warning people about the death of a librarian. I know that's going to deeply have hurt some people at home there, so I apologize. I should have just put a disclaimer.
Were you pretty shocked when you saw that, being a librarian yourself?
Oh, exactly. You got taken out by an alien? I mean, really? A librarian? Yeah, whatever. Completely unrealistic. Not gonna
Obviously
happen.
a work of fiction.
Very much so. But so think about it. These aliens conquering Earth have the ability to travel from the stars to Earth and all that weird scientific stuff. The first thing they do to check out the library. Yeah.
That's a glowing endorsement, I think, for the public library.
If you're gonna conquer the Earth, stop by the public library first.
Yeah.
Of course.
Knowledge is power, after all.
Oh, definitely. Okay, so Paul, let me see how to pronounce this guy's name. Nashi, who's the writer and star, although he hasn't come out yet, claims that his influence for the movie was the Universal movies, the classics with Dracula and Frankenstein and all of those. But he claimed he had never watched House of Frankenstein. So I watched that last night just to see what was going on, because some of the reviews I heard were like, no, dude, he watched it. He totally watched it. And yeah, he totally watched it. So
ripped off.
Oh, yeah. So the scene at the very beginning with the circus and the carriages, and they go inside, and then you have the skeleton of Dracula with the stake in it. That's exactly from House of Frankenstein. I mean, like, dead on. There's no way he did not watch that.
Who played Frankenstein in House of Frankenstein? That's not the one with Christopher Lee, is it?
Yeah.
Is it the one with Christopher Lee? Okay.
I think so.
Man, I haven't seen that movie in forever. Christopher Lee was an amazing actor.
But yeah, so even though functionally I don't even know how that works, I didn't know how it would work in that movie either. So you have a skeleton with a stake through it. There's no flesh, but somehow pulling it out of his rib cage brings him back.
I mean, classic vampire rules, really. I mean, well,
it
there's
looks
so many
cooler in
weird
House of
vampire
Frankenstein.
rules.
What's that?
I said, but
Oh,
there's
how
so
to
many
bring back
weird
a vampire? Normally, when you stake them, they kind of turn to dust, and you pour like some blood on the dust, and under like a eclipse or something, and they come back to life, like a Kool-Aid. Or
yeah, I can see that.
It's the same rules as Kool-Aid Man. You add the powdered flavoring and some liquid, and then he bursts through the wall.
Yeah,
back into life.
Maybe
Metaphorically
Kool-Aid
speaking.
Man's maybe he's a vampire. Maybe Kool-Aid Man's a vampire.
He is unstoppable.
That's true. He has insane
You can outstop the
strength.
Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so somehow pulling the stake out, it brings it back to life. And yeah, they go to the library, and apparently somewhere there's a book of how to find every monster on Earth. And it's just there in the library. Anybody can check it out, apparently. It's not like it was behind a case or with a lock on it or hidden in the archives. It was just laying there, you know?
You guys have that at your library? Is that
I'm curious. I mean, local history does have some really cool stuff.
In the in the reference section.
Not in mine, because I'm in charge of that. Local history does have their archives, so I'm gonna talk to them. Like, do you guys have like a secret monster library you didn't tell us about? Because that's not cool. You should have said something, like share.
You guys probably should or probably do, because there's a lot of like crazy monsters in Kentucky.
Oh yeah. We did a show on that back in May. All kinds of weird stuff. The Pope Lick monster.
Yeah.
Goat Man with like hypnotic eyes.
Isn't Sheep Squatch from Kentucky also?
I don't know a Sheep Squatch, but there is a whole bunch of. There was I can't remember the name of them. But yeah, there's like a bloody Bigfoot who's going bald. Yeah.
Who's going bald?
You got that?
Sheep Squatch?
No, I don't remember the name. It's some sort of Bigfoot variant, but that's what it looks like. So it's covered in blood and it's balding.
Oh man.
I know, right? Yeah.
Bloody bald Bigfoot. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. We got that and a bunch of dogmen. What else did we? Oh, it was something like a badger that lives in graveyards. I remember that one. That was kind of neat.
Dude. Where I used to live in Scottsville, which is close to Barren River Lake. And I know when I was a kid, they used to have on the 4th of July, there would be a boat with this like big fake lake monster that they would bring out, and it would like shoot. They'd have fireworks that like shot out of its nostrils and out of its mouth. It was really cool. But I wondered if that was based on anything, if that was based on any kind of local legend. I don't really remember.
There is one in the river that borders Ohio and Kentucky. There's something that's basically like Nessie, so same thing. We do have swamp monster, or I guess it's a swamp monster. Yeah, like a big dinosaur-like thing. Yeah, we got those.
Yeah,
everybody has those. Everybody's got a Bigfoot.
They're a dime a dozen. Yeah. All right, so are we ready to get back
I just wanted to break for the disclaimer, just in case anybody needed to take a break after the death of a librarian.
Yeah, of course. Might need a moment of silence.
And then back to the show.
Gone but not forgotten.
To insert the brain of a murderer into the human being which I believed perfect. Today I shall blow up the castle and bury myself with this terrible monster. May God have another nightmare creature, the werewolf.
Werewolf?
Yes, you see, he was influenced by the full moon. In order to release him from this curse, it's necessary to shoot a silver bullet into his heart.
Werewolf?
Something you remember?
I think so. I think when I was a child, my grandmother or my nurse, I don't know which, told me about the werewolf. He's a man who's transformed into a wolf under the influence of a full moon. I'm sure there's another word to describe it.
Lycanthropy?
That's it. Lycanthropy.
My dear, that's no more than a country superstition.
Yes, but...
The flowers are withered, but the body of Valdemar the werewolf is uncorrupted, waiting to receive life. A silver bullet in his heart only immobilized him, left him seemingly dead.
I too have been called heartless.
His death is permanent only if the bullet is fired by a woman who loves him enough to die with him.
So I'm fine. Lots of deep staring in this movie.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, a lot of eye shots, a lot of staring.
Oh, yeah.
You give him the injection of the serum, which will prevent him being transformed into a werewolf.
Which is 100% effective. The werewolf doesn't jump at all.
No human power can withstand the contagion of the vampire.
I'm lying.
Or the mummy, a
That would be
murder who
really
obeys
bad.
only the cabals of Egypt. Or the Frankenstein monster. We shall make thousands of them and turn them loose on the races of this planet.
I experienced a strange sensation when I touched Valdemar's body. The same as I felt when I was together with Fezar. Is he a man or a monster?
Both. The eternal dilemma of mankind. Good and evil.
Yeah.
The paradox.
Especially under a full moon.
After a few cocktails.
Yeah. But he's half dog. Dogs are adorable. Why wouldn't you fall for that?
Animal magnetism.
Yeah. See, look how effective that serum.
Using his wolf-like strength to break free.
Looks like the work of a wild animal. 4 women have vanished, and 2 murders in a peaceful town where nothing ever happens. Everyone expects results from us. Most of all, the mayor.
Even though they've never had to solve a crime.
Report from the laboratory, sir.
Thank you. It's incredible. Scientists say that they can't identify the gelatin substance, applying every test known to modern science. But the molecular structure is unlike anything they have ever seen.
I've got a hunch about this. Give me a free hand to carry out my own investigation. Oh, just for a few days.
Go ahead, Henry. Try to find something concrete.
Thanks.
And good luck.
I like that shot. The reflection.
Yes, I do it. Oh, thank you.
And they clearly bought the rights to exactly one song.
Don't spoil it, please.
Oh, that's cold.
Shut
You want
down.
me to take you home?
Oh, I've left my shawl back there.
I'll get it.
It was a full moon last night.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing. Anything else?
There's a man who comes in here every night. They say he's bought the old monastery. Dr. Varnoff. Oh, there he is.
Right. Thank you.
All right, before we get into Varnoff, let's come back here. Oh, why can I not see? Oh, there we go. Hello. Oh, you're bent. No.
I'm bent.
There we go. Okay. So, yeah, before we get into Varnoff, let's talk some more about Paul Naschy, the werewolf.
So the whole so everybody knows that silver kills werewolves, or I guess in this case incapacitates.
In this case, incapacitates. Yeah.
Right. Now the part about a woman who loves him shooting him in the heart, was that in the original Wolfman?
No.
Because it's
so
interesting.
in House of Frankenstein, it did have the somebody who knows, I think is how they phrased it. But it didn't say what they know. Somebody who knows has to shoot the werewolf with a silver bullet. So you can't just accidentally do it. I can't see anyone like randomly shooting things with a silver bullet, and it just happens to strike a werewolf. That doesn't count.
Okay. Well, because in the Benicio del Toro Wolfman, have you ever seen that one?
Only parts of it.
Well, that's how they kill him, is a woman who loves him. Shoots him in the heart and kills him at the end. So I wonder where that comes from then, since it wasn't from the original Wolfman. I wonder if they watched this movie.
I can tell you it doesn't come from House of Frankenstein, but I didn't go like way deep dive into werewolf.
Yeah.
So maybe it is further into the. But I know it's not a typical werewolf folklore thing, because I like folklore. I know a lot about that. So it might be a direct reference to this, or this is a direct reference to something else. I would assume this is a direct reference to something else because I don't see anything particularly original in this.
Well, it's funny. Well, so what if no one loves him? What if he's just a jerk his whole life and no one loves him? So would he be unstoppable then? Would he just be able to go on a rampage and no one would be able to do anything about it?
No, if he's completely unlovable, he's
unlovable.
immortal.
The unlovable Wolfman.
Yeah.
They have to send him to space or something to get rid of him, like they do the Hulk in
or Jason X.
Yeah, or in Jason X. Yes.
Only his mother
Jason
could
X
kill.
versus the Wolfman.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, now I'd watch that. That would be a terrible
good.
movie because Jason X was terrible.
Yes,
but it would be like twice as terrible, which wouldn't cancel out. But
right.
I just have terrible taste in movies. I wouldn't watch it. But
so
anyway,
that's why we're friends. I think. But,
this movie is sort of a trilogy. Simon Terror was the first follow-up to Mark of the Wolfman, or Frankenstein's Bloody Terror, which introduced Paul Naschy's werewolf, Vladimir Daninsky. There would have been a third movie, Las Noches del Hombre Lobo, but fortunately it never happened. So, Frankenstein's Bloody Terror. Vladimir is bitten by the werewolf Wolfstein, because you didn't see that coming.
Oh, man.
Wolfstein. Yeah. And cursed to be a werewolf. And he seeks out the aid of a husband and wife mad scientist duo who are, wait for it, vampires.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That sounds fun, though. I think that sounds like a fun movie.
It is. I still intend on watching it, even knowing it sounds horrible. Because if this is supposed to be the improvement, well, I mean, the sequels are always bad, so maybe the first one was okay. The third one, we probably should have backed it to be good. Sequels are usually terrible, so maybe that's what we're hitting here.
There are exceptions to the rule, though. I mean, I think Gremlins 2 is better than... I love Gremlins, but I feel like Gremlins 2 is better than...
That's true. It did make it a holiday movie for the whole family.
Right. I think Home Alone 2 is... maybe not as good as Home Alone, but pretty... They're kind of... They both have admirable qualities. And I think this movie is already proving to be an exception to any rule. So maybe the second one, or maybe the sequel would be good. Who knows? You know? Maybe it would flip the script. Probably not.
Who knows?
You're probably right.
No. I don't think so. But they got some scientific... So this is a sci-fi movie. So they're doing experiments, trying to identify the goopy substance on the victims, which I'm assuming is like Dracula's saliva or something? Yeah, I don't know. Well, some of the substance was on the steak, even though the steak was inside a skeleton. So how there would have been like biological remains on the steak, I don't know. But then I'm not a space scientist, so what do I know?
Or a vampirologist.
If that was a thing, I would be that. I don't have a grad degree yet. Or a PhD. I don't have a PhD.
I'm a doctor in vampirology.
I'm a doctor in vampirology. How is that useful? Do you see any vampires? You're welcome.
Exactly. You're welcome. You know, so many things, so many creatures, if they bite you, they turn you into that thing. Well, like,
saliva
I wonder,
is terrible.
Yeah. Well, what if a Frankenstein's monster bites you? What would happen?
Oh, see, in House of Frankenstein, the mad scientist character was going to cure the werewolf by taking the werewolf's brain and putting it into Frankenstein's monster.
Whoa. That'd be crazy.
That didn't happen, though.
That's a missed opportunity.
The two movies predate this movie? Yes. So House of Frankenstein was way back before this. It was a black and white Universal movie. Mark of the Wolfman did come before this, within the same basic time period. Yeah. So they were definitely... I mean, the writer claimed they had no influence on his movie, this movie,
They obviously
but
did.
it obviously did.
Yeah.
And
What's
Paul
the
Naschy
harm in
built a career of playing werewolves and monsters based on this movie. So he continued to play Vladimir Daninsky, the werewolf, and then he did some other monster stuff after that.
right on? Was he kind of like a Doug Jones type, except for not as weird looking, I guess, probably.
And he focused on werewolves to a certain. So that was what.
Yeah.
So does that make him like a Mary Sue? So the concept of a Mary
Kind of.
Sue is that you have this kind of artist's idealization of themselves as a character. So he kept writing himself as a werewolf. So I got to thinking, is that, did he secretly want to be a werewolf, and this
Maybe
is how
he was
he
a furry.
expressed his inner werewolfness? Or that?
Could
That makes
be.
it even
Could be, you never know.
creepier. Not that it's a valid life choice. You know, I'm not gonna bash on that. But you know, maybe. I'm
What
not
am I
saying
saying?
it
I'm
here.
I'm wearing a Condor
I'm not
costume.
saying it, and I'm not saying that you didn't say it.
Right.
But I didn't say it.
Right.
And with that, let's see if we get back to our next monster. We got so far.
Sounds
We
good.
don't have Dracula, but we have Count Janos. Janos Bailoff.
Jados Bailoff. That's a vampire
Janos
name, I
Bailoff.
feel like.
Which sounds like
Yeah.
Count Dracula's second cousin's roommate or something.
Yeah. It
I
totally
don't know.
does. He didn't pick a very good name.
No. And the
Not
werewolf.
very incognito. Yeah.
No. But coming up next, for Alcazar's monster, they pronounce it differently every time. And here we go.
Scotch and
It's
water.
like Worcestershire.
A harmless-looking apparatus. It's used to make the guilty confess, to drag secrets from spies. Ultrasonic waves. Sound so acute they drill into the brain.
That's a really horrible sound.
It's also not ultrasonic if we can hear it.
Right.
On this occasion, we shall use it as a punishment. The escape of Valdemar could have endangered our plans. I trust this will be an example.
Reminds me of those Parker Brothers memory games where you had to like push the red light and the yellow light and it would kind of blink and you had to do this pattern. That kind of drove me nuts too.
Pity is a weakness. Do not forget it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Simon, yeah.
Simon, that was the name of it. There you go.
The tomb of Tau-Tep, the mummy, has now been located. Rocky side of Jebel Karib. Hypogeum of King Amun-Ra. The reflection of light in the solid gold mirror transmits orders to the mummy.
And now the romantic subplot you didn't ask for.
Oh, I was expecting a girlfriend. I thought it was her.
My name is Henry Toberman. I'm from the city police department.
Doberman?
I'd like to question you about what happened last night.
Toberman.
Come up, please.
Kind of like the
Excuse me just
candy.
a moment.
Oh,
It's kind of music when you're on hold for a company you didn't want to
Henry
talk to.
Toberman.
so it's perfect that that's the music playing while he's waiting, I guess.
That's true.
Sit down, please. So, you don't remember me, do you?
I'm afraid I...
You graduated 3 years ahead of me.
Oh, but of course. But you were...
I know, don't be afraid to say it. I was a skinny little girl with freckles, and you were the captain of the football team.
Oh, that description doesn't fit you any longer. But to get back to business...
Fat?
About last night.
I really don't expect you to believe me. Your colleagues didn't.
I have a very open mind about this subject. Is there any further information you can tell me? Anything at all?
Not about last night, but my father, Judge Sternberg, had an incredible experience when he was young.
Yes?
He personally knew a werewolf.
Personally knew... I'd like very much to speak to your father.
And like all police detectives, he doesn't have the budget to go fly. Oh wait, no, this is the other people fly. Apparently the aliens use airplanes.
Yeah, why wouldn't they just use the spacecrafts, UFOs and stuff?
Oh, they didn't have the budget for that, apparently.
Oh, well.
No, there really were supposed to be UFOs, and they didn't have the budget for them.
No. Why not? Come on. No. Kabu.
They blew it all on these solid gold unk mirror things.
And the white jelly.
And the white jelly. Of unknown origin.
Could have used a better light source.
Shining the magic mirror light through the giant unk. It's like something I would do in Dungeons and Dragons.
Dr. Varnoff is directing his movement.
Too close now.
Mummy hates wall. Intense eye stare. Vulcan neck pinch.
As you see, sir, that's merely the
Classic
official
Mummy.
account of the attack on your daughter. But there was a full moon that night, and your daughter told me that you actually knew a werewolf.
Yes, that's correct. It was an incredible experience. Something the mind refuses to accept. But it happened. My wife. She died 7 years ago.
She too was a werewolf.
Waldemar Daninsky was in love with the woman who was later to become my wife. Yes, he was a normal man like you, or I. A man of good family, cultivated, intelligent, until God knows why, he was afflicted with this horrible curse. He was transformed into a werewolf on the nights of the full moon. It is unseen.
See, and that's the writer talking about himself.
Yes, I'll help you all that I can.
I like this music. Good standing around a pond music.
Random romantic subplot.
Blah, blah, blah.
I know, it's like, oh wait, we have another monster. Crap, we need to go back to that.
So many deep stairs.
He was able to hypnotize you.
Mummy eye burgers. Gotta clean those out, otherwise they get infected.
How'd they get the mummy in there? Like, how'd they get him to join peacefully? He just bear hugged a man to death.
There's one danger we must guard against.
I'm assuming they just load him on the
They're
airplane
occupying
and
the
they
bodies
took
of Earth people.
They're like, come
Creatures
on,
of a
man.
planet much younger than ours. Their feelings and emotions are very strong. They're impulsive and unpredictable. We must be constantly on our guard. We must always maintain our own personalities. Our superior minds must at all times be in complete control.
It was just a moment of weakness.
I was looking deep
In this
into
world,
his
wars
eyes.
have been lost and
No.
empires destroyed through moments of weakness. The mummy is our ideal. His heart is dried up. He doesn't feel, doesn't live,
He just
doesn't
straight up stabs the guy.
He's a who walks and obeys.
That's rude.
Tomorrow I shall go to see the other ideal creature, the beated by Frankenstein. He too has no heart, blood, feeling, only a brain that obeys. His
Pretty sure
power is
Frankenstein's monster has a heart.
electricity.
Yeah.
You need one of those. They had like
Pretty
We
sure
shall
he's
make
got
him
all
even
the
more
normal,
powerful with
like,
our atomic
I'm pretty sure
sources
that
of
was
energy.
a brain and a heart at least, you know.
I shall take Valdemar with me. You and Kyrian can look after things here.
I'm loving all these beeps and bloops.
one day I want a wall with like weird random letters and things. It'd be
Yeah, and
fantastic.
flashing lights.
Oh yeah, I'll just put it in the living room, right next to my bookcase. Deep owl stairs. Oh no.
Where was this filmed again?
All over the place, but initially Spanish. Spain.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, I wonder if they like Spanish cinema is similar to Italian cinema, where there's a lot of just staring, a lot of deep eye shots, like in a Giallo movie.
Gallo. I think
Yeah,
they just
Gallo
forgot
movie.
to record audio, and they needed something to fill in the spaces.
So they
Like
zoom
nobody
in on the
talks.
eye. Yeah. He has nice eyebrows.
They better be a creepster detected.
Whoa.
He's grabbing the blanket. Don't get too frisky.
Oh, okay. Okay. So say this is a family show.
Yeah. There's no actual anything.
He got spooked and he ran away.
That's how you know is that actually Dracula. I've been
Right.
caught! No! Must run away!
Oh, Kyrian. Kyrian.
Well, I just got the lab report on the girl who was murdered near the nightclub. So? The strands of hair that we found under her fingernails weren't human. They came from some kind of animal.
Yes, well, that about clinches it. We'll head for Blaustadt immediately. There's something there I've got to check. Ilse will go with us. I don't want to leave her here alone.
She can stay at Superintendent Gluck's.
Good. She'll be safe there?
She will.
Untie him.
She got
Open
those
your eyes,
sideburns.
man. I know, those are impressive.
Oh yeah. Major sideburns.
Why isn't he opening his eyes?
He never does.
Are you
And
kidding
note how
me?
tall he is here in this scene, because
Yeah.
it's important later. And he just kind of walks up,
Merely
like,
a test.
not even a thank you for
Soon
bringing me
find
back
out
to
if your
life.
days
Just
are-
like, eh, whatever, dudes. I'm going. Peace out.
He seems to know what he's doing, despite having his eyes closed.
You know what I haven't done in a while? Go smack the werewolf around. Now that I'm alive again, that's first thing on my bucket list.
Uh-oh. Wolf out, hurry!
No!
And even while being choked out, he still does not say a single word. The werewolf has not spoken yet.
Oh, I thought that was the werewolf. Wait,
As I
wasn't
said,
that the
that was
werewolf?
merely a test. Results couldn't have been better. Ilona, it will soon be the full moon. Give
Or was it
Valdemar
just
his
some-
injection and make it a double dose.
Yes.
Somebody else.
Hold on.
Okay.
That was a cruel test.
Cruel. In our dying world.
Okay, so when did it come out? The first
No,
one?
no. Oh no, I was asking. Wasn't that guy that he was choking? Wasn't that the Wolfman?
Yeah, that was the Wolfman. Yeah.
Oh.
So that was Paul Naschy, the writer / character.
Wolf. Yeah, getting choked by Frankenstein's
Getting
monster who
choked by-
never opens his eyes.
Well, by Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Who, in
Yeah.
addition to not being Frankenstein's monster, also apparently doesn't need to see. Maybe his
Yeah, that's very weird.
sideburns have some sort of detective properties, like a cat.
There's
He just kind of
sensory
feels his
sideburns.
way around.
Yeah.
And if he bumps into something, he knows to turn. I'm assuming.
It's so stupid. It's so weird.
Yeah. So even while being choked out, the werewolf does not say anything.
No.
So at this
Why
point,
does he have beef with? Why does he have beef with the Wolfman? Is it because of something that happened in the first movie? Is it because of the whole thing with the?
So apparently, that deep eye stare, this Barnoff did, was him communicating orders to the monster to go smack around the werewolves. That's what we're supposed to take from that. Yeah, so that's how the aliens communicate the orders, is like those deep eye stares. So whenever you see them going, that's them communicating some sort of deep impactful message to their minions.
Could they not have like made it like done a voiceover like every other show that like shows people with telepathy where like they just start staring, their mouth isn't
And then some
moving,
sort
and
of
then
buzzing
like
noise. No, apparently the buzzing noise is reserved only for when they're doing mind control experiments.
Okay.
Which again, I don't know how that works. So the women being captured in this movie, the idea is that they're young and beautiful, and they're going to send them out to like statesmen and politicians and military figures, and like corrupt them that way, right? So that's what that's supposed to be. But if you've
Seems
got
kind of
mind
sexist.
control stuff,
Right.
why don't you just kidnap those other people and use the mind control stuff on them?
Yeah, why would you need to do that?
Yeah, why do you need those middlemen? Because apparently they're not very good at doing their other jobs, like giving werewolf serums and making sure the vampire stays in his box.
Yeah.
Don't come out of the box, vampire. Bad vampire.
Smack his hand.
That seems like that's what that guy did. He was like, vampire, did you get out of your box?
He has like a spray bottle. He's like, no.
Yeah, you know. He scampers off.
Bad.
Literally, it's like he scampers off.
Yeah. He's like,
what a vampire are you? So far, he's shown that he can regenerate through some kind of goopy method.
Yeah.
And he can stare at you. Those are the two powers of this particular vampire.
Do they ever explain what the goo is?
I mean, I'm assuming it's something vampire related. Because he was the first monster, and then you got the goo. But no, there's no follow-up on that I know of.
That's upsetting. So many questions left unanswered.
So very, very many. But at this point in the movie, we do have all the monsters you're going to have. Because they were going to do other aliens with like flying saucers and stuff, but they didn't have the budget for it. And they were also going to do the golem, which they talk about at one point, but again, they didn't have the budget for it. And honestly, it would have filled the exact role of Frankenstein's monster as a brooding thing that didn't open its eyes.
Not much of a difference, really. Like, doesn't seem like it would have added anything. Yeah. I mean, they should have used the Gill Man. They should have used the Gill Man.
Gill Man? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they didn't.
He kind of gets excluded a lot.
Added something. Nobody remembers the Gill Man.
Nobody misses Gill Man except for me.
He is fantastic.
Yeah. But anyway.
All right, and with that, we've got all. There are 4 monsters? Yeah, we've got all 4 of the monsters. Maybe now, over an hour into the movie, they will begin their conquest of Earth. I'm not promising that they will, but they could.
But they might. They could.
I mean,
if they are want.
An hour into the movie, that would be a thing that happens. Let's find out.
See if it's worth the build-up.
It's not.
We're struggling for survival. We kill or we die. There's no other choice. I'm afraid the system of reincarnating the beings of this planet will create problems. Make us susceptible to psychic changes.
they don't explain who that was or why that was important.
Of course they wouldn't.
But more deep, longing stares and no dialogue from the werewolf.
Why?
Wait,
Are you
no,
helping me?
I'm wrong.
I really don't know. I think because I'm a woman.
But you're a slave of Varnov.
I'm not anymore a slave.
Let's go now.
Don't be afraid. I'm not here to stop you. Go. Go on.
Yes, sir?
Vodka.
Very well, sir.
Got the wolf out.
Give me another.
No, that's the vampire.
Oh, looked like the werewolf for a second. Man. Maybe
Well,
I
I
could
don't know if it was supposed to be the vampire or just he was drinking and seeing vampires. I don't know what that scene was doing.
The other night, when I held you in my arms, I felt a strange sensation. Something indefinite, haunting.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it was called a hug. Well, I feel the same way.
As if we'd loved each
Creeps
other.
me out.
Very haunted.
It's like something half forgotten. Like a faraway memory. Returning again, isn't it?
Perhaps it's the passion, the weakness Dr. Varnov warned us about.
Yeah, Barnup, the guy who spends all of his time in a bar watching go-go dancers, is like commenting on their life choices. Really? Also, dude, give them some space.
I know. We're being a creep.
Or, I don't know, send in the monster to break it up. Not cool, dude. Not cool.
No!
He's trying to choke him back. I'm like pulling onto his arm.
Frankie's so cool, he doesn't even have to open his eyes.
Here I am. Gary.
Very sad.
Okay, I was right. He's just hallucinating.
What?
He saw himself as the wolf man. then. It's a dude whose liver's failing, and he should really stop drinking so much vodka.
Yeah, the cirrhosis is taking its toll.
What? Where? Now?
Who?
Stay there. I'll be right over.
Where? Hi.
Now look, Ilse. Why aren't you at Gluck's house?
I'm tired of being locked up like a prisoner. What's going on? My father won't tell me
Your
anything.
father has a very good reason. We don't want you staying here alone.
I'm not alone now, am I? Why do you think I called you?
Sneaky.
You little minx.
Oh my
Pointless
god.
romantic subplot continues.
You little minx.
This
That's
is not
hilarious.
intended as a punishment, although you might well deserve one.
That
You
was
allowed
Zing
Ilona
and
and
Zap, yeah.
Valdemar to escape. We'll never accomplish our mission if you act irrationally, if you let yourself be dominated by emotion. Do you understand why I must do this to you?
Yes. I'm a woman with a woman's intuition. You will have to do it for the same reason you killed Kyrian. You were jealous of him. That's why you want me to forget him. You yourself have become contaminated. You also love. Can you forget?
What a jerk.
I mean, I'm not hearing no.
You'd better get dressed. Superintendent Gluck. Oh, Superintendent? No. She's all right. She's at her own house. How do I know? Well, you'd better get up and get dressed. No. She's all right, Chief. Get dressed. I'll assume full responsibility. Get dressed. No, Chief. No. I haven't been drinking. No, sir.
No, Chief, I'm
One
not
other
telling you
thing.
to get dressed.
I found out.
Wait, no, I
last night
was.
That some strange
Chief,
foreigner
you should get dressed.
bought
We all know you
the
just gotta
monastery.
lounge about with your pipe.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Not wearing
Dr.
pants.
Varnoff. I think we ought to check it out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Ilsa, will you please get dressed?
Don't you like me without freckles?
With or without freckles, you're going back to Gluck's.
And now an abrupt cut.
I found out Sternberg's address. He's the district judge.
You've decided. If you're caught, you'll be arrested. You know that.
I know. I'm cursed. We've no future.
No. There's none. There's no future.
I can only find peace if a silver bullet is...
It's fired by a woman who loves you enough to die with you. It's strange. Since I was a small child, I've always dreamed.
Of shooting a werewolf.
Every little girl's dream was to shoot a werewolf in the heart.
A guy with a pony and a gun with silver bullets, and I would shoot a werewolf. Also a unicorn. I just want to live someplace that's like random castles laying around. It's one thing America didn't do.
I know. It's really unfortunate.
Dr. Varnoff?
Please come in. Dr. Varnoff is waiting for you.
I like that little drawbridge.
We're about to receive a visit from one of your people.
One of my people.
In a sense, the system of incarnation is not perfect. There's a flaw somewhere. Something of the alien race remains. Certain sensitivity to physical contact, perhaps an imperceptible reflex to tones of voice, to the expression of the eyes. Something I cannot quite define.
Even though I keep staring
at you. Do you think of me as an enemy?
No. You're an individual under my domination, which is quite different from being an enemy.
I electrocute all my friends, too. If I had friends.
Maybe that's why I don't.
0.287.
Shall I accelerate the reaction?
Yes, do that.
He's a real Thomas Edison. Shocking everything.
0.87. 2 cubic centimeters. Good afternoon, Inspector Toberman.
I'm conducting science. Do you like science?
Hail science.
Good afternoon, Dr. Varnoff. I think we've met before.
Yes, at the Golden Egg. Forgive me if I don't receive you personally, but as you can see, I'm extremely busy.
Yeah.
I know why, and your suspicions are well-founded. But you're still not quite certain. Am I mistaken?
Of us to assume that the Earth is the only inhabited planet in the universe.
And what of the legends of vampires, werewolves, the Frankenstein monster? What's your opinion?
Many fantasies are being transformed into reality by modern science. Transplants of heart and kidney, the cornea, perhaps in the near future, even the brain. I have no doubt it'll soon be possible to create a Frankenstein monster.
Our race mastered these techniques centuries ago. That's our mission here, to study the manufacture of monsters who will destroy mankind without exposing ourselves to danger.
Supposing this to be true, why are you exposing yourself to me now?
Because I know the future, including yours. Are you curious to know what will happen tonight, Inspector Toberman? You recognize her?
Ilse. Varnoff,
Positive factor. And now the most interesting point. Observe. You're not the first individual who has meddled with my plans. These bones are all that remain of the other intruders. Observe the sleeping bats. They will awake, they'll fly around you, and when they sense you're defenseless, they will attack your eyes, till nothing remains but 2 bloody sockets.
Now notice how much taller the monster is now. Well, notice it next time he's on screen.
Oh wait, the Frankenstein monster is going to be taller?
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, he gets taller.
Yes, exactly that.
Superintendent Gluck, we and all the people of this town are extremely concerned. Not one of these recent murder cases has been solved by your department. Furthermore, this Dr. Varnoff...
Mr. Mayor, one of my best men, Inspector Toberman, is in charge of these cases, and I'm just expecting a report from him.
Gentlemen, I have some information which until now I have concealed for personal reasons. And as you realize, I have more interest in this matter than any of you, since it is my daughter who has disappeared.
Judge Sternberg, we're doing everything in our power to find your daughter. Assuming
I've assigned exactly one person to the case.
What is this information? Why haven't you called me?
Done everything in my power was assign one person. We have a very limited
Mr. Mayor,
pool of people.
you recall Valdemar Daninsky?
He's got a staff of 2, including himself.
I've seen him and talked to him.
Everything else is spent on his pipe weed.
He has something to do with what is happening at the monastery.
Like Gandalf.
Mr. Gluck, we haven't time to waste on legal technicalities.
All right. We'll pay a visit to that monastery. And anybody who wants to come along will obey my orders. Is that clearly understood?
Because there's only 2 of us, I'd have to delegate.
Sweaty stairs.
It's a good thing he gave up on finding that judge and came back. It's almost like that other scene was pointless.
Hurry. The full moon is not going to wait.
Where's Ilsa?
I don't know. Maybe in the cellars.
Just hanging around.
Just having a good time.
No bones about it. He's having fun.
Ilsa! 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 Ilsa!
Uh-oh.
Now, this is the only genuinely creepy thing this vampire does. With the mist coming out of the box, he sucks at everything else. No pun intended.
Ilsa!
So sleepy.
Never know if he's awake or not.
Rude. exactly what it looks like in the morning when I wake up to shave my beard off. Just kind of shot in reverse. And now it's time for hide and seek with Count Janos. Stop blinking, damn you!
Get out. Welcome, drunk AF. Uh-oh.
You've discovered my one weakness. Wood!
This vampire's kind of a wimp, really.
It's not like he's got a holy zipper of holy water. He's got a broken pool cue.
Oh, man, that was easy.
Apparently he was inflatable. So once he poked a hole in him, just all the air came out.
I wish you would have, like, gone, like, flying across the room like a...
Nope, there's not even that. Nope. Just all the air comes out and there's nothing left but the skeleton again.
Skeleton full of gas.
Yeah. So special kind of vampire that's full of gas inside of a suit.
Very strange.
I mean, oh wait, we suddenly remember there's another monster. Like it's the first time you've woken up in the catacombs. Really.
Very coming of age. Everybody wakes up in the catacombs at some point.
You're going to arrest Dr. Varnoff?
No comment.
Alright. One more break before the exciting continue. There we go.
Some of these sound effects, they're just... they're too wacky.
So the invasion has not happened yet, and they're already down one monster. And one defected. So that's not boding well.
No, and I kind of think I thought the vampire would be more difficult to deal with, but apparently not.
Well, I mean, he's definitely not Count Dracula. He's not the
No.
badass vampire from Bram Stoker.
No.
He's Count Janos, who's like your bargain bin vampire. You know, it's like the buy one, get one free of vampires.
He's easily chased off by scientists. He's easily killed with a pool cue. Like,
yeah, all you have to do is like look at him sternly and he'll run off. Like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then he leaps away, like literally just, I'm not supposed to be here. It's like when you're babysitting your nephew or something, and like, are you supposed to be in here? Aren't you supposed to be in bed? Oh, I'm Count Janos, who's full of hot air, and somehow the suit is a part of the package. So when you make him deflate, the suit also goes away. which
Yeah.
also happened in House of Frankenstein. So House of Frankenstein, they pull out the stake, and initially I thought it was gonna be really cool. Like nerves started growing. It was like, all right, this is gonna be awesome. And then there was a guy in a suit. It was like wearing a ring. I was like,
What? So weird.
so apparently there's a tradition of it. You can't have like naked vampires, which I guess naked vampires bad. Sure, let's go
Right.
with that.
I think the Mummy and Frankenstein's monster. Wait, which
For a
one
while,
defected?
confess this
Oh, the
monster.
werewolf did, right?
The werewolf's not dead yet. No.
No, I mean I know, but I mean he's the one that's defected. Like he's not.
Oh, yeah. He took. Well, he
right.
He didn't seem on board from the very beginning. From the very beginning, when the one hypnotized lady touched him, apparently that was enough. Then she stopped giving him his injections, and they ran off together to some random ruin,
Castle ruin,
where they had like a deep, meaningful conversation about killing him, as one does.
Yeah. Well, see, I think that the Frankenstein's monster and the Mummy would probably be a little bit. They might be kind of difficult to deal with. They like to choke and crush people, so
we'll see. That has not happened yet.
Yeah.
But so definitely, we're at the point where the movie's starting to build from, borrow elements from these spy films. So you've got this scientist, and everybody is determined that he's the bad guy. And like it would be the same thing in the Bond films. Like they've discovered the bad guy, and he's monologued. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is my plan to come to the Earth. Yeah. So he's done all that. He captured the bad guy. Instead of killing him, he set up the elaborate, like, doom device, which was apparently bats. I mean, it wasn't even like a bucket of acid. It was like literally, I'm going to chain you to a wall, and bats are going to eat your eyeballs out.
Stick the bats on.
And then somehow you're going to turn into a skeleton. Yeah, I don't know what that was.
It's the skeleton virus that the bats transfer to you.
It's not rabies. It's flesh-eating bacteria that starts in the eyes. Sure.
That'd be a really bad place to start.
I mean, it would be pretty bad.
I've never heard of bats.
That same sort of Bond thing, like I'm going to monologue, and then instead of killing you, I'm going to wait for you to die. And by that, I mean escape and undermine everything I'm doing.
Yeah, of course. Too bad the bats didn't have laser beams attached to their heads.
That'd have been freaking awesome. Freaking bats with freaking laser beams on their freaking eyes. Yeah, man. But no, that was not in the budget. But the bats were still not as bad as the House of Frankenstein bats. Literally, when Frankenstein Dracula turned into a vampire, he would like raise his cloak, and then it was a cartoon bat just kind of flopping through the air. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean,
it could have been worse.
This vampire was defective, but at least they didn't do that. They didn't completely cheese out. He just couldn't do anything other than stare at you. No, that's all he had. Well, I mean, and the coming back from death thing. And he could leap from tall places.
But he apparently doesn't have vampire strength or anything like that because he's easily incapacitated.
By some dude. But so far, Police Inspector Toberman is doing quite well. I mean, instantly from the very beginning, he was like, yep, that's definitely a vampire. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else this could be. And then a couple of hairs were like, nope, that's definitely a werewolf. So we're dealing with like a monster conspiracy here. So he's on top of it.
He's a pretty good
why
detective.
They can only have the one guy in the police department and the chief, because he's so badass. They don't need anybody else.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Toberman's on top of this. And he also has time for that completely unnecessary romantic subplot, because he's already nailed down like what's going on.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, that goes with the spy genre. They're always
That's true.
bedding beautiful women and things like that. And they have to
And
have
then she
some
got
sort of.
kidnapped briefly.
They have to have a silly. Yeah, they have to. Yeah, he has to save her from being kidnapped, and yeah, it's all part of the formula.
Yep. And we're halfway through the conquest of Earth with only like 15 minutes left. So they gotta get on this.
Let's see what they can do.
All right. Back to the exciting, non-terrible Assignment Terror. Wait, no. The terrible Assignment Terror. I got it.
It's still fun though. I actually kind of love it, honestly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hilfe!
Beware the mummy's kung fu grip as he slowly walks after you.
He's like, all right, mommy, I don't like you and you don't like me.
Mummy wants hug.
Oh, he's pretty savvy when it comes to. He knows their
weakness.
weaknesses. Yeah, he's pretty savvy about knowing their weaknesses.
This detective was on top of it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yep,
He did his
vampire,
research.
I know what to do there. Werewolf? Yeah, I mean, I know what werewolves are. And mummy? Phew, I got mummies. All thanks to his local library. He did have the book.
That's true, yeah. But also, to be fair, most things are weak to fun.
And held a slap pipe between two monster icons.
No longer able to control them. Excellent.
Take a position surrounding the monastery. Dr. Varna, if you do not leave the monastery immediately, we shall enter by force if necessary.
Slappity slap slap. Slap slap.
And then a pound and a slap.
Slap.
Slap me, well, I'll slap you right back.
It's like the Adam West Batman.
Yeah. Bang,
Pow,
biff.
slap. Choke. Throw. Slap. Choke.
Knocked him over.
Toss inside a giant wheel.
Oh my god. Good job, man.
Keep back there. Keep back.
And who are these random people just ending up in the countryside?
They're like,
At
all
night.
right, nothing to see here. He smells them.
Werewolves, not like Cher. Cher bad.
Hit him with the chairs, Wolfman. Come on. Slap you in the face.
Electricity, my most hated foe. Somehow.
Even though it brought me to life. But he helped her.
What's the exit?
Yeah.
Get back there.
She put him down. Like old Yeller.
Yeah. Too bad. But he bit her in the neck as he was dying.
But did he? Or just like
know.
finger paint?
Yeah, I couldn't really tell. The whole thing went to hell in a handbasket.
We're trapped. When those two clouds of gas meet, it is pointless to try to escape, Dr. Varno. You must pay the price of failure. Have you anything useful to inform us?
Yes. We won't be able to destroy them. The passion which we believed was their weakness is what makes them really strong. Stronger perhaps than their nuclear weapons.
Can we eliminate these feelings?
Possibly. But then would life be worth living?
We must survive. We shall try other methods. Anything else?
Yes, well, I'm entirely responsible for the failure. Can she be spared?
You are forgetting that Dr. Kerstein has ceased to live on Earth.
What?
And that is the worst. She's just gone.
He died doing what he loved. He learned a lot.
Now Dr. Bond, if you stop that, we're going to come in and stop you. We're going to go inside any minute now. We're just
Men
waiting
willing
for
to
some more giant
sacrifice
lights to show
themselves
up.
for others. Nothing will destroy us.
Out of place music. Not really fitting the mood. Wow.
Yeah, and there we go. That was Simon Terror. You're
That
welcome, everybody.
certainly was a movie. That was a film.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah. So they failed, so the giant gassy people, I guess, sent some more gas? Because that's what destroyed the building, was the two clouds of gas?
Combining, and then yeah.
Right. So I'm assuming as gas beings, they had like super control over gas? I don't know.
Well, we'll never know, I fear.
That's true. The third movie was not made. And yes, that was a movie. Yes. Yeah, that was indeed a movie. What happened in that movie? I really don't know. Like I said, I watched this 2.5 times, and then I went back and like read some reviews just to see if I missed something.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't miss anything. I told everyone exactly what to expect at the very beginning of this show, which is whatever that was.
Yeah, man. I don't even know what to say about it, really. I
Speechless, I know.
I've never quite experienced anything like it, I gotta say.
It had like a very good like introduction, and the end wasn't bad. I mean, where they're like the expository stuff, they're all like humanity can't be crushed as long as we have each other and care. That's cool. It's very like 80s cartoon or Captain Planet kind of, As long as we stand together united, we can fight back aliens resurrecting monsters and
A good
threatening
message.
to unleash on us.
A good message.
Everyone should know that.
Executed in a bizarre way.
Yeah, and again, I am sorry for not warning about the death of a librarian.
Yeah, that's
I should have added a disclaimer in the introduction. My bad.
Yeah. Next time.
Next
if
time
the
there's a death of a
librarian is
librarian,
harmed,
I'm on it.
I didn't hate it though. I really don't think it. I mean, it was not great, but it was not. I've seen way worse.
Oh yeah. Like
but
individual elements weren't bad. It just didn't combine to form anything. When initially I thought about watching this, I was like, cool, it's got all the classic monsters and aliens together. I mean, this sounds like a great movie for October.
No, it was not. It was not a great movie for any time of the year, I feel like.
No.
There's never going to be a time.
This is what you don't do when you write a script including all the iconic monsters.
Right.
Don't have them do nothing.
Except for slap each other around in the climax. There was a little bit of that. Or it's kind of like whenever Worf from Star Trek fights people, he just kind of smacks them around. You know what I mean? Like everyone's always like, Worf, you got to watch out for him. He's a real.
He's such a
badass.
badass.
He just kind of
go ha-cha, ha.
Yeah, or drops an elbow on you. Yeah. Oh boy, it was a hell of a time. But I don't know. I think it definitely, I did have good concepts. It's just the execution was really poor. I think it was kind of a matter of like the ideas not being compatible with the budget that they had,
Well, so initially, Paul Nash was told that they had a really great budget, like he could do whatever he wanted, so just kind of write something, and that didn't happen, and the director quit, and then they brought in somebody else, and I'm assuming he just kind of chopped apart whatever's left and threw it together and was like, "Yeah, it's a movie. I'm done.
Yeah,
right, send me a check."
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And then they Americanized it because
Which
redub it and all that fun stuff.
Right, which added another level. There are probably some. I'd imagine there's probably some cultural things that we're just not familiar with.
Maybe
in Spain, Frankenstein's monster is blind for some reason.
Frankenstein's monster. So I'm assuming this version, the scientists who put them together just didn't include eyeballs.
They give them eyes for some reason.
Focused on the giant forehead. He was like,
no, we got to
put a lot of time and effort into making the right box head, but eyeballs, he's like, we don't need those. He's got giant sideburns.
Which, by the way, why does Frankenstein's monster have, in so many things, why does he have such a boxy head? It doesn't make any sense.
I guess they needed the extra room to put in the brain?
Maybe, or, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I'll have to look that up at some point, but
I know they definitely, incision lines are...
Maybe to make that more
where they
noticeable.
Open up the head and put it back on.
Maybe to make it more noticeable. Yeah. Well, I think probably the best actor who has ever portrayed Frankenstein's monster, in my opinion, is probably the Robert De Niro version. Have you ever seen the one from the 90s with Helena Bonham Carter? And I like that one too because they didn't make Frankenstein's monster stupid. Because in the story he's not really stupid at all. He
self-teaches himself English.
Yeah.
And how to survive and everything else.
Yeah. But for some reason, in the old Universal movie, they make him, an idiot. And
fire bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how Frankenstein ends with Frankenstein holding the scientist under his arm, like a kitten or a child or something, and he walks off into a swamp and sinks.
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
There's no expository dialogue or anything. It's literally just him going,
"Time to die in the swamp."
Yeah, so this movie at least was a step past that.
Yeah.
Had the end dialogue, tying it together, and you kind of knew why things happened. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've seen worse, we've seen better, more better than worse, but
yeah.
Also, something I wanted to kind of touch on really quickly was that kind of a trend that happens occasionally now with horror media is when a monster that's really well known, like a type of monster, like a zombie or a vampire or whatever, gets used in the movie, there's kind of a trend of not referring to them as what they are. And, Walking Dead is a good example of that. They never called them zombies. In the most recent season of American Horror Story, it's very vampire centric and no one uses the word vampire. And then also I don't know if either of you have watched Midnight Mass on Netflix.
I've started to, so don't give away anything.
I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm on episode 2.
All I'm gonna say is the thing that is in the movie, or the show, it's never called by what it by what it would be universally known as. That's all I'll say.
So don't do that. Don't.
Okay. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Technically, I know where you live. You filled out paperwork.
That's true. But yeah, that's why I'm saying. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting trend of doing that. And I wonder why that is, though. Do you think it's because people don't feel there's any need to, or do you think it takes people out of the moment or the believability of the movie?
Probably a little of both. I mean, if horror movies didn't exist and some giant thing was lumbering around, you wouldn't go, "Oh, Frankenstein's monster, I know that scientist."
Right.
You would just say it's a giant 8-foot tall monster. licensing issues? Maybe.
Could be.
A lot of the iconic monsters are based off of stories that are in the public domain now. So technically, the monsters themselves are safe to use. It's the way those monsters are depicted that are copyrighted.
Yeah.
So if you show, the classic Christopher Lee vampire with the cape and the axe and the whole deal, that's copyrighted. If you show Frankenstein with the bolts and the giant forehead, that's copyrighted. The characters themselves, you can do whatever you want. So it might be something tied to that.
Yeah.
And again, the immersion factor, like you said, that probably would. You wouldn't go, oh, that's a vampire. You just go, these people have these bites in the neck. I don't know what's going on with that. Rabies?
Yeah, well, and then also I think then it's like, well, we know how to deal with them then. We know what their weaknesses are because it's such a common thing. You know what I mean? So.
Well, then you've got stuff like Shaun of the Dead where the concept of zombies does exist. And you know how to deal with them. You hit them in the head and you do it twice.
Maybe that's
so
part
it
of it,
depends
like
on the context of the movie or show.
Yeah. Makes sense. But yeah, I had fun though with it. It was an interesting time. We're not doing a show in November, correct?
We might. I would still like to do Little Shop of Horrors at some point.
Yes, we should.
So that might be cool.
Yes, I would be down for that. And
but our next official show through the library is going to be Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
I've not seen that, and I've never seen the full version. I've only seen the version Mr. Science Theater did with the chopped down and edited stuff.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be really, really bad. Yeah, really bad.
It's got Clint Howard in it. It's got to be gold. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I almost want to do. There was one. I think it's like Satan versus Santa Claus, and I was like,
ooh, yeah.
I can't get away with that. I mean, we might be able to outside of the library show.
Yeah,
but I was like,
on our own time. Yeah,
we definitely can't get away with that.
Right.
Not that there's anything bad in it. It's just the word. Yeah.
Yeah, a little touchy. Yeah,
Yeah, just sensitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so join us again on December 4th.
Yeah, definitely December, maybe.
For Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Yeah, definitely in December, maybe in November. I would totally be down. I think we definitely should do Little Shop of Horrors in November. I think that would be good.
I think it would be cool. Again, I've never seen the Jack Nicholson version. I've only done watch the musical. So it could be cool.
It's still good. It's just different. It's just a lot, it's just a lot different. Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Oh, and it is my brother's birthday that day. So we'll celebrate Santa Claus and Martians and my brother's birthday. I totally plan that.
Yes, I'm excited. That's going to be so fun.
I know what your birthday is, Jeff. I've got a reminder that tells me. All right, and with that, I think we'll wrap things up for this time. Everybody have a great Halloween season.
Yes, absolutely. It's the most wonderful time of year.
Yep. All right, so any further words of wisdom, Mr. Condor?
Well,
you were going to come up with a catchphrase. Come on, catchphrase.
Yeah, we need to come up with one.
Yeah,
about that.
Like months. Come on, give me something. Come on, James, off the top of your head.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta do it.
I don't want to say, mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be gas-filled vampires that are easily dispatched by pool cues.
That counts.
There we go. That's not going to be the
Stay spooky, everybody. We will see you again, at least in December, possibly before then.
Yes.
Later
Adios.
on.